big weekend. Let's get it started off right. Get on your feet. Make it loud. Please welcome your Pittsburgh Penguins.
The Penguins are winless in their last 3 home games. They have only 1 win in their last 6 afternoon games. They've had plenty of time to get their minds right for this one against Arizona here today. Hello again, everybody. Along with Bob Airy, I'm Paul Steigerwald. And Bobby, great to see the top scoring centerman and the top scoring winger in terms of goals coming back to the lineup here today.
Well, it really is, Steg. It's an exciting afternoon when Evgeny Malkin comes back into the lineup, only 7 points behind Crosby for the scoring race. You get his 28 goals back. Patrick Hornquist, you get his aggravation. You get his net front presence. And he is big on the power play as well. 15 power play goals between those two. The Penguins will lose David Perron and his 17 goals due to injury or illness.
And we go from one Swedish player to another, one of the best defensemen in the NHL.
Well, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, this guy is fantastic by every measure, even by Nicklas Lidstrom measurement. 21 goals, most ever by a Swedish-born defenseman.
Let's go down on the ice for PA announcer Ryan Mill.
Please welcome today's Trib Total Media hometown heroes, representing all military families who have loved ones currently serving abroad. Please welcome Miranda Martin and her 2 boys, James Jr. and Aiden, along with Miranda's mother and mother-in-law, Linda and Dolores. Miranda's husband, James, is a sergeant in the U.S. Army and is currently serving on his 2nd tour of duty in Iraq. James is also a member of the Allegheny County Sheriff's Department. Ladies and gentlemen, please provide a warm welcome for Miranda and all those families with family members serving abroad. Please rise, remove your hats, and direct your attention to the flag above the scoreboard. At this time, please welcome back the Penguins' own Mr. Jeff Jimerson, as together with one voice, he sings the Star-Spangled Banner.
All right, Pittsburgh, today I want you to join me. Join me in welcoming home from Iraq, Sergeant James Martin.
All right, we say we do this again. Jeff Jimerson and Martin family will be leading us in the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Welcome back, Sergeant James Martin Jr., and what a pleasant and amazing surprise for his family as he returns to Pittsburgh from Iraq right here on the ice at Consol Energy Center. So you got to see firsthand what it looks like when a family welcomes back one of the warriors from the Middle East. And man, that was a special moment provided by the Pittsburgh Penguins here today. Our Kia starting goaltender is the backup goalie. It's the first of back-to-back situation for the Penguins. They'll play the Sharks tomorrow night.
And there he is right there, former Coyote himself is Greiss. And there's Mike Smith, who the Penguins saw in Arizona last week. He's a battler, a puck handler, and boy, Penguins were fortunate to get a couple behind him.
Mike Johnston will be coaching today with a heavy heart. His mother, Sheila, nicknamed Mickey, passed away yesterday at the age of 81, leaving behind Mike and his 4 siblings, 3 sisters and a brother, as well as her husband Eldon and 20 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. And so our condolences to the Johnston family. He will coach today and tomorrow night against San Jose and then return to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia for the services. Now the puck is handled by Tobias Reeder in the right wing corner of the Penguin zone for the Coyotes. He scored a goal shorthanded early in the game last Saturday in Arizona, which the Penguins won 3-1. Empty net goal scored by Sidney Crosby to seal that deal. The Coyotes scored first in the game, but the Penguins came back. Coyotes have won 2 in a row. And they've scored 9 goals in their last 2 games.
Beat Detroit, beat Buffalo. Malkin off the ice after his first shift. Hornquist coming on with the Crosby-Winnick unit.
This is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He loves to lug that puck. He brought it all the way up to center and handed it off. Now in behind the net, it's Kyle Chipchura. Craig Cunningham dropped his stick. He picks it up as Chipchura brings it up the wall. Checked there by Derek Pouliot. Daniel Winnick, the former Coyote, is there as well. He scored his first goal in a Penguin uniform against the Coyotes last Saturday. Now it's Klaus Dahlman, the former Blackhawks, moving it over to his partner Connor Murphy, who sends it to the Penguin line, where Lovejoy banks it away to center. This is Martin Erat. He did not play in the game last Saturday. Dangerous offensive player, number 10 for the Coyotes, in the lineup today. Playing with Schwartz and Gagne at the moment. Centering pass for Schwartz. He tried to direct it to the net. Now he takes a second whack at it, and Greiss able to freeze. Let's look at our Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, Gino's back. You have to stick with Malkin. He's going to be a big part of this hockey game. You got to figure. The F3 forward. They want him high. He can turn pucks over. He can get back on the rush. No 2-on-1s and 3-on-1s against. And you got to have that swagger. You know Hornquist has got it. You know Malkin's got it for sure. And the rest of the Penguins will just follow suit. And of course, David Perron, once again, illness, not in the lineup this afternoon for the Penguins.
It's Sutter, Downey, and Bennett for the Penguins. 3 right-hand shooters on that third line for the Pens. Here comes Sutter down the right wing with Downey heading towards the net, as is Bennett. Bennett well checked there by John Moore, and now Gagne with it. Gagne once had 8 points in a game for the Edmonton Oilers against the Chicago Blackhawks. Now a lead pass. Bennett snaps it right on the tape for Steve Downey. Downey wins his way into the offensive zone. Goes down, tries to center it. Now it's swung to the left wing where Martin Erat is confronted. Good gap there by Ian Cole, and Erat has to turn back. The Penguins change. Michael Stone, the defenseman, goes back and sets it up from behind his own net. Out in center now. It's off a stick and all the way down the ice. Back to get it goes Letang. No icing in the play. Turned it up the right side. Stone drives it to the net of the save made by Greiss. And the Penguins will have a break here. Hustling back is Ekman-Larsson against LaPierre. He'll cut him off. LaPierre to the goal on his backhand shot. He got his own rebound. Stayed right in the paint. Kept whacking away at an early whistle. That puck was never frozen.
Yeah, that was a bad whistle. That puck was clearly visible from the moment it was shot in on the backhand. And now you got LaPierre mixing it up right now in a headlock. Korpikoski, I believe.
No, he's not in the lineup today, Bob. That would be Michael Stone.
Michael Stone, yes. Yeah, I was looking at the number of 26. So there it is, LaPierre. Take a look, Staggy. You can see that little move, the curl drag. The puck is clearly visible. I don't understand Tim Peel losing sight of that. You see where he is to the left bottom of the screen, off the glove. And the puck down to the pads of Smith as LaPierre appropriately keeps playing as that puck is available.
Well, Again, we talked the other night about it, about body language of the goaltender. It appeared maybe to the referee that Stone had that, or that Smith had that puck frozen against his body, but it did drop out. He thought he did, that's for sure, for a moment. And there it was available for Lapierre to whack at it a couple of more times. So 4-on-4 hockey now with Lapierre going off along with Crombie. BJ Crombie in the box. Both roughing penalties to those players. So the 4-on-4 situation now for the Penguins and Coyotes. Dumped in now by Ekman Larsson. Took a little whack at Blake Como after he dumped the puck into the zone. And now Letang has it behind the goal. And Letang starts it up for the Penguins to center. Looks left wing, and it's offside on the play as Como was ahead of the play too much. Our barrel leaders welcoming back Malkin and Hornquist, combining for 51 goals this year. 5 multiple-point efforts in 9 games returning from injury for Evgeny Malkin. So let's hope he continues that trend. The Penguins need goals today. They need life. They need a win. They need a breath of fresh air. And yesterday in practice, we saw Jim Rutherford sitting with Mario Lemieux and David Morehouse. So yesterday was a day of concern, I think, in this organization. Here's a shot. It's a blocker away by Grace. The Penguins know they got to get the ship straightened out here as they head towards the stretch run and into the playoffs. So now here's Hornquist dropping it back. Poked away from Pouliot. Chipchura looks back. Checked nicely there by Hornquist. And Crosby takes it away. Down the wing. Crosby. Right side for Hornquist. Doesn't connect. Sid with it again. And his turning shot was checked by Stone. He's got his stick down to block that shot, and now he's got the puck.
That was great work by Hornquist on the back check after Pouliot got poke check from Chipchura. Chipchura looked like he had a lane, but good speed by Hornquist to get back and then join the rush offensively.
Well, Scuderi with a poke check. And Letang quickly moves the puck, and the Penguins' Chris Kunitz comes back to center. Skipping his way through the neutral zone. Kunitz tried to feed it along for Winnick. Cleared but not out. Scuderi to Cole. Cole the shot. And it's right on, and the save made by Smith.
Boy, Cole's got a nose for that net stay. You saw him score in the last hockey game, and there he was able to take that pass on the off wing. He's able to glide in towards the net. My man falls down, and he takes that available ice and gets right in on top of Smith. Look at the interference by Winnick in front, really locking the defenseman in tight, allowing that room there for the defenseman to take it.
I thought my first impression was that shot was partially blocked, and it was off the shaft of the stick. And the shot by Cole. When Cole was in St. Louis, they had Shattenkirk, and he's their big offensive guy. And they just weren't as inclined to think of Cole as that guy to move up and provide offense, but he does seem to have a little bit more of that in his game, and probably would like to show it here in Pittsburgh. Here's Chris Letang, speaking of offense. Now 5 points behind Erik Karlsson for the lead among defensemen in scoring in the NHL is Letang. Downey dumps it into the Coyote zone. Klaus Dahlbeck poked it over to the corner. The Penguins steal. Bo Bennett tried to get it to Sutter. Now it's held in. And the shot by Lovejoy deflected on net. Softly to the left pad of Smith, who was down in the butterfly. And the Coyotes come back a 3-on-2 unless Bennett can come back to even things up. And this is Dahlbeck with it, shooting it wide off the end boards. Penguins double teaming a man down there in the corner. That is Schwartz. Now a centering pass comes all the way to the right point, and Connor Murphy's shot is stopped by Grice. And he was fortunate to get his right pad out and make the save there with Ty McGinn standing right on top of him.
What a great example of a defenseman just taking a wrist shot. And it was picked up rather late by Thomas Grice. Murphy is able to take one step, and then the wrist shot, a floater. And the Penguins, Pouliot put his glove out as well. He may have just touched it with the glove, you could see. And off that right pad of Grice as he stretches out to make that save, the big netminder, Supermo, presented by Allegheny Health Network, just get the shots to the net.
This is Paul Martin backhanding it up the wall. The Penguins trying to stretch the D a little bit of the Coyotes here as Kunitz went racing towards the blue line, but the Coyotes able to break it up, and it's dumped in now by Tobias Rieder, German hockey player. It's in on the forecheck, but the Penguins able to get it right back, and Como lifts it out to center. Taken now by Kunitz. Following on his Malkin, coming to the goal. His shot is gloved by Smith. Smith has a kind of an awkward-looking glove hand at times. Kind of clawed that puck and was able to hang on to it.
It may have been deflected almost right at the stick. You could see Ekman Larsson, but right into that mid. Big save on Malkin.
Tweet the booth at Roo Sports Pit. Use the hashtag PensBooth. Brought to you by Point Park University. Dave Tippett is the coach of the Coyotes. And 22 years ago today, he had 2 assists for the Penguins against the Washington Capitals in a 4-1 win down in Washington. Played for the Penguins in the 92-93 season. Good checking player, more or less. The 2 assists, not something he was noted for necessarily with point production. He was more of a defensive player. He's a good defensive coach. Crosby dumps the puck in. Hornquist in after it against Stone. His brother Mark plays for the Senators. Gagne sends it up the right wing, and it's poked out to center by Shane Doan. I think that Moss who poked it out to center, and now it's handled by Paul Martin. And across now to Letang. Up the wing, steered in by Hornquist. Smith sweeps it away from Crosby to Ekman Larsson. Winnick in on the forecheck, trying to get it away from him. Now it is Stone taking control with lots of room to move it across to his partner, Ekman Larsson. Penguins back off in that neutral zone structure. They were able to pick it off. And Adams could not get the puck deep. Now it'll be taken, though, at center ice by Cole. Nice move to get around McGinn. Cole handling the puck with confidence, dumps it off the end board. Spaulding poked it to the corner. Well, a hip check by LaPierre. Also a body check by Spaulding, but the Coyotes able to push it up into the Penguins zone, and icing is called on Arizona.
When you saw that last shift, Crosby almost drew another penalty there, and in Arizona, he drew 3 of them, as a matter of fact. The first one on Stone, the second one on Ekman Larsson, and the third one on Arcabello in the neutral zone. So Crosby really had his feet moving again here on that last shift. You could see he almost forced the referee to raise his arm.
Bob, how much more pressure is there on Dave Tippett today now that the Penguins have both Crosby and Malkin coming at him?
Well, I think Dave Tippett is pretty calm and composed guy, so the pressure is on his players, obviously. You're talking about the defensive coach. It's more of a team style, so you can't necessarily say it's on one person. You see Chip Chara out right now against Malkin.
Como with a little wraparound attempt that's stopped by Smith, and he shakes his right hand, it looks like. His stick hand, like maybe it got jabbed by a stick there as the puck was being frozen at the side of the goal, and the Coyotes taking exception to that too.
Yeah, you see, they're playing as a team, and what I see, Staggy, is when you come down the stretch here, a lot of teams, as you see Malkin get tag teamed, and that's another example of what you do there. It's not one guy that's going to stop Malkin, it's everybody, but that's going to leave more room for Como and company. But when a team battles like this after the whistle for one another, if the goalie gets bumped, you see guys getting in the face of players. A lot of teams, when they're going down the stretch and they're 50 points out of a playoff spot or whatnot, they just kind of mail it in, and they forget about that kind of, a lot of them become more individuals. I'm playing for next year. I'm playing for a contract. This team, I don't sense that. We're playing together. We're playing for one another. We're playing to win this hockey game. That's what I sense from this Arizona team.
Now we get a collision in front of Smith as Chip Chara went down into his own
Malkin against
goaltender. Yeah, if you saw there on that last sequence, it was Kunitz who came in late and took a jab at the stick hand of Mike Smith. He went over and said something to Kunitz in that scrum, and now we get another issue here after that whistle.
It'll be interesting to see how Arizona respond as they go on, but they're Malkin kind of taking the feet out of the defenseman there as he goes back for that puck. Or was that Chip Chara, the centerman? Yeah, that's his centerman, the guy that he was facing off against. So Chip Chara goes right into the goaltender, Smith, and Smith might be a little bit banged up here, guys. He's taking an extra break. He's coming to the bench here after talking to Tim Peel, and this is an interesting turn of events right now. He just pointed to his blocker hand, and now he's going to get the edge worked on his right skate. A lot of times the goaltender will go in and he'll knock that skate off the goalpost, and there's no rubber protection there like there is in warm-up. They put a black rubber protection on the bottom of those goalposts, but in the game they take the black off. So there he is, and he gets whacked by Kunitz right on his blocker hand. And this play here, as he slides in after the Malkin escort, and he's back into the net again. So you can see him shake his right hand after the Kunitz whack, and there he gets the skate blade fixed. So this is going to be interesting right now to see if it's a skate issue or a hand issue or whatnot. But the Penguins are getting to the blue paint, I can tell you that.
And you know who sets the tone for that more than anybody? That is Patrick Hornquist. He is the man when it comes to living in the paint. Now an offside call on the Penguins. It's Hornquist, Crosby, and Winnick for the Penguins with David Perron on the shelf. You have to figure that Winnick would be playing further down in the lineup, but he certainly has enjoyed the opportunity, I'm sure, to play alongside of Sidney Crosby the last few games.
He's got skating legs, you know that. And he's proven he can be a good defensive player. So if Crosby's doing his thing up ice, Winnick's going to be reliable to get back. He's got the good plus-minus defensive constants, but he's got the big body to screen in front of the net. And there's Smith again playing the pucks, guys. And this is always a big story, whether it's Mike Smith in the past, Martin Brodeur, and Smith. He was a big story in the last game because he banked one in off Brandon Sutter to get the Penguins in flight.
And that was a bounce the Penguins desperately needed at that point, too. Moss fires one, and the save made by Greiss, and the rebound gobbled up by Bennett. Ahead to Sutter, gets around Stone to the goal, one-hand shot, and the save made by Smith on Brandon Sutter. Sutter has goals in 2 of the last 3 games and almost had another one there. Now it's Tobias Reeder hustling out to center, and he'll dump it into the Penguin zone. Greiss out of the net. Greiss beat the Penguins here in Pittsburgh last year 3-2 as a member of the Coyotes, who were 4-4 in their last 8 games against the Penguins. They were a much better club the last few years than they are this season. But they're dangerous. They beat the Detroit Red Wings and then beat the Buffalo Sabres in the Connor McDavid Bowl in Buffalo in their last game.
Yeah, Greiss was 10-8-5 last year's day with a 2.29 and a 9.20 save percentage.
LaPierre slithering his way down the left wing boards. 7 shots for the Penguins, 5 for Arizona. Scuderi wristed right back down behind the net where LaPierre will take it on his backhand. LaPierre swings it back to the net, and the save made. Adams went to the paint looking for the rebound, but the Coyotes control. And Tobias Reeder able to steer it back to center at the blue line. It's the Gagne, and now at center it's Adams dumping it in.
There's Smith playing it. You got to dump it hard or real soft. You cannot. It can't be in between. Smith gets every puck, and he'll start the breakout.
Chipchura dished it off to Joe Vitale. Now taken by John Moore. Klaus Dahlbeck on the ice right now for the Coyotes, a defenseman acquired for Antoine Vermette from the Chicago Blackhawks, number 34. Chipchura at center ice. Dumped in by the Coyotes. Back to get it goes Scuderi. Sends it up the wall, and Chipchura's there. Out here with Cunningham and Schwartz behind the net. Centers for Dahlbeck going to the net. Went right by him, and now that creates a 2-on-1 opportunity for the Penguins. Malkin and Kunitz, and the pass by Malkin broken up beautifully. It was good defensive play there by Connor Murphy as he got a stick down to break up the pass from Malkin to Kunitz.
Wow. What a chance missed there by the Penguins. Kunitz and Malkin on a 2-on-1.
Dino said yesterday he thought he could help get Kunitz going. He's struggling, and he was hoping to do that. There's a shot wide of the goal off the stick of Hornquist.
Wow, it hit Winnick, and I thought it was going into the glove side. Just missed the post.
Crosby in front. Hornquist there. He jammed away out of the save made by Smith. Back in front of the net. The puck was still up for grabs there, and again an early whistle. Well, Hornquist was just living in there again on top of Smith.
That save was sick. It hit the blade of Hornquist. He stopped it. If he shot it right away, I think he was going to score. There's the redirect just wide of the post. There it is on the stick, and then the pad save. Wow. Oh, 0-0. You guys had a 2-on-1. Malkin and yourself, Chris. He said he could help you a little bit, but he also said that you could help him. What do you do for him?
Yeah, I just try to get into on pucks, create turnovers, give him the puck. They always want it in his hand coming through the neutral zone. He's going to make the plays or draw someone away from him to give it to you. So anytime you can just give it to your centerman, go to the net, get the right areas. They're great players. They're going to find you.
How do you feel with 8 games remaining in the season, getting ready for the playoffs?
I feel like we got to turn it up. We got to become a better team in these 8 games, playing a 60-minute game and believing in each other every time we're on the ice, doing it the right way. We're doing it here for 10 minutes. We got to keep going.
Crosby's backhander stopped by Smith, and he rolled over, and the puck came squirting back out to the near wall. Sid was there on the backhand. He couldn't beat the big goalie. And now Tobias Reeder moves it ahead. Letang is back. Martin trying to get back. Reeder to the goal. And a good stick check there by Martin at the last second, preventing Reeder from getting a scoring opportunity going the other way. Now picked up by Letang, busting into the right wing, and Hornquist trying to return the puck to Letang. And the Coyotes clear. Lone man back is Martin. The Shane Doan trying to get the puck going north. Now it's picked up by Arcabello. The former Penguin comes in on his backhand and shoots it. And the penalty coming up as Arcabello drew the penalty. Save made by Grice. And some activity after the whistle again.
Yeah, it's going to be evened up here. And really a silly penalty by Shane Doan. Once again, back to what I was talking about earlier, Staggy. This Coyote team is not going to go away lightly. They're not going to be pushed around. They don't even want hooks.
Number 72, 2 minutes for hooking. Arizona number 10, 2 minutes for roughing.
So it was 10 Erat that came in late and not Doan. I thought it was Shane Doan, to be honest with you guys. And I still believe it's Shane Doan that did it. There's the hook on Arcabello. And then you're going to see the shot right there by Shane Doan. And Shane Doan, I believe, is the man in the box. They called Erat. Look at this chance by the faceoff. There's the puck right in the crease, and Stone, take a look at the glove of Stone as that puck is in the crease here, Staggy. He puts his hand not over it, I guess. He shuffled it along. You're allowed to do that. You can't cover it up in that blue paint. It's a penalty shot if you do that. They called Erat on the penalty. Doan is in the box. Doan's the man that was the perpetrator.
And Erat's on the ice because it's a power play. No, it isn't. It's 4-on-4. I beg your pardon. That's right. With both players going off as a result, it would have been a power play for the Coyotes. Here's Pouliot, and now he moves into the middle to Sutter. Sutter coming in, trying to move it to the left side. Had a man going to the net. He just couldn't get it through. Now Lovejoy's drive and the save made. And Spalling was the guy who was open there for a moment on that left side. Now Pouliot and Spalling team up to get the puck in the corner. Gagne gave it away to Sutter. The shot and a glove save made by Smith, who's been ready for every shot here today. The Penguins now have either 12 or 13 shots on goal in this hockey game. I think that was the 12th shot. The one by Sutter there into the glove of Smith.
The Olympian making the save with that claw again. Boy, did he snatch that out of the air. Supermo presented by Allegheny Health Network. That glove has been tremendous for the big man in the cage.
Big man with a very big glove.
He does look huge. And we don't want the Penguins making another goalie looking like George Vezina in this one.
Well, the Pens have done that. You want to look at the tall and short of it. I mean, it's pretty amazing. If you look at what goalies used to look like, that's Penguins GM Jim Rutherford as a goaltender at 5'8" back in the day in the early 70s. And then there's Mike Smith at 6'4". The goal cage is the same size. There's a lot more net to shoot at in those days, not only because goalies were smaller, but because their equipment was smaller and the gloves were. Although, if you look at that again and look more closely, you'll see that the blocker of Jimmy Rutherford is actually bigger than Smith's blocker. Now on the right side comes Crosby, swooping into the middle. He tried to go to the left side of Martin, picked off by Murphy. And now the Coyotes on the rush. Moss drops it off. Murphy to Chip Chura to the goal, the backhander, and boy, just skipped wide of the net. Close call there.
Chipped wide, if you will.
Yep.
By 24.
Letang leaves it for Crosby. Sidney Crosby drops it off to Letang, and the shot. Stick save made by Smith. And a whistle blows. We'll take a look at our UPMC Sports Medicine injury update, Bob.
Ehrhoff, after that big hit against St. Louis. Mata, he'll be gone for the season, and Pascal Dupuis. And, of course, illness today with David Perron. We found out late. Not available for this game this afternoon.
Fortunately, with Malkin and Hornquist returning, the Penguins are back to having extra players, whereas over the last couple of games they've been playing short, down to 11 forwards.
Just took some tape off the stick of Mike Smith there. You see off the heel. And he's a guy that likes to play the puck a lot, guys. I don't know if that would affect him or not, but I would expect that we got a check here from behind, and Homo is going to be penalized here, guys. I don't know if it's going to be just a 2 or more than that. There's an injury on the play. We'll wait and see what the officials call here. Francis Charron, and he might be gone. They're pointing to the dressing room right now. This is going to be a 5 in a game, guys, I believe, for Como. Now, I think he's going to be sent to the dressing room, and this is going to be a 4-on-3 situation. Campbell's been injured as he was hit into the edge of the boards by Como as he was turning and playing the puck.
Back to 11 forwards, Bob.
Let's take a look. There he is playing the puck. There's the hit, and that chin and the helmet going into the glass, into that turnbuckle there. Just that extra force by Como as the man is playing with his numbers facing Como. Gets Como the 5 minute.
Interesting scenario there because it wasn't a direct hit to the numbers by any means, but Campbell turned in such a way that the force as he was turning still created a situation where he was launched. His head was knocked into the glass, and so he got cut.
I think Como's hands were up, Staggy, too, if you take a look at that again, as you describe what I was seeing there as well. It wasn't a shoulder hit. It looked like he was hitting more of the forearms. I'd have to take a look at it again.
Gagne drops it off. Taken now by Ekman Larsson. Just a soft wrist shot to the net, steered away. And now the puck poked down the ice by Daniel Winnick. So the Penguins facing a major penalty situation here. Bennett is serving the penalty as Como has been sent to the shower. Here's Gagne with Gagne centers. Kaderi put his body down to block it. Hornquist and Doan come back onto the ice. And the Penguins are able to clear after Ekman Larsson shot one softly again to the net. So now it's a 5-on-4 power play for the Coyotes, and they can score multiple goals during a major penalty power play.
Moss directed that last Ekman Larsson shot. It looked like the Larsson shot was going in from my angle. Moss with a couple of goals in his last hockey game over the weekend, almost with another one there on the redirect.
The Coyotes have 3 power play goals in their last 2 games, both of which they won by 5-4 and 4-3 scores. So their power play has helped them on these first 2 road games of this trip. They'll be looking for help here again from the power play unit. Ekman Larsson, the dangerous man, with 9 power play goals of his 21 that he scored. And the puck is fired right by Ekman Larsson by Brandon Sutter, the Penguins' premier penalty killer. With 4 shorthanded goals, he goes to the bench. The Penguins get fresh penalty killers onto the ice. LaPierre and Adams. Lovejoy and Scuderi. Gagne sends it around to the far side. Arcabello over to play it. Tried to go to the point with it, didn't get enough on it, and LaPierre, as a result, was able to clear it back into the Coyote zone. Well, obviously, you could draw some momentum from a penalty kill. This is an important sequence in the game here for the Penguins. If their PK can get the job done, they would be able to build some momentum from that, I'm sure. The Coyotes looking to get the jump here and score the first goal on the Penguins in this game. 4:41 to go in the first period. 2:52 to go on the penalty. And a heavy shot there by Stone goes up off the glass right to the near wall. The Penguins didn't get it out. Ekman Larsson to Stone. Wrists it down along the wall. Erat sends it across for Gagne. Gagne scans the ice and drops it back to Ekman Larsson. Back to Gagne. Dangerous player. He shoots it, and a save by Greiss. The rebound squirts to the corner. Good checking there by Lovejoy on Erat, but he turns out of that check. Centered it, or at least tried to, and it came right to Adams, and he's able to send it all the way down. 2:20 to go on the penalty.
Ekman Larsson, I believe he's been out here the whole 5-minute power play so far with those 9 goals. 21 on the season.
Cabello feeds it along. It's snapped to the left wing where Tobias Reeder has it now. And Reeder lost control of it to Paul Martin, who wrists it back to center where Ekman Larsson goes to Stone. Michael Stone steps in, lost control. And Winnick finds that opening calmly, looking it over before he shot it down the ice. 1:48 to go on the penalty, being served by Bo Bennett.
2 shots on the power play, 1 on the 4-on-3 and 1 on the 5-on-4.
And the Coyotes right back at it into the Penguin zone. Held in by Moore, but then Spaulding got a stick on it to direct it back to neutral ice, and Moore has to regroup here. Over to Connor Murphy. Back to Moore. 1:26 remaining on the major penalty. Murphy goes left wing. Reeder working his way to the corner. Around now for Murphy at the right point. LaPierre and Spaulding up front on the PK for the Penguins. Moore. Murphy. Right side. Shot by Reeder. Kicked out by Greiss, and the rebound was poked away towards the end. Boers by Spalling, but controlled now by Moore, who sends it back out of the corner. And Lovejoy try to clear. Stays with the Coyotes. Arcabello to Murphy. The wrist shot through traffic and absorbed by Thomas Greiss, and no rebound. 55 seconds remaining on the penalty. We'd like to welcome Gap cable viewers in the Fort Indiantown Gap area. Thanks for watching and rooting on the Pens. All of us at Root Sports and the Penguins appreciate your support. Fort Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. Welcome to our broadcast. Sutter in there against Gagne. Erat cleared it back to the point. And this face-off win there for Gagne. And Coyotes can't make anything happen from that because it's poked away by the Penguins. Back into the Coyote zone. Craig Adams, Brandon Sutter, Chris Letang, and Paul Martin trying to finish the job here. 36 seconds remaining on the major penalty. And there's that back pass for Erat that come in there with speed, and he's able to gain the zone. They set it up now. Ekman Larsson to the right side. Stone with a wrister, and another save by Greiss with a man standing in front of him. I don't know that net front presence is as effective there for the Coyotes as Dave Tippett would like it to be, because Greiss, it seems to me, has been able to see both of those shots coming through.
Well, Moss had, as I mentioned, a couple of goals. Look at Greiss is looking to the left. Greiss has got to fight through that. So he's doing a great job looking around that traffic. Pretty effective if you get a stick on it right there for a redirect. Moss looking for that. Boy, this Ekman Larsson is huge.
He's something, boy.
Huge and mobile.
He was one heck of a hockey player. He scored a gorgeous goal earlier this week against Vancouver. He went coast to coast.
You see how that puck is dumped in. Ekman Larsson just spreads out to the corner, lets Mike Smith, the netminder, play that puck. What an so advantageous to have Mike Smith, somebody like that in the crowd. They're on their feet right now, acknowledging that penalty kill.
Penguins kill the major penalty, and now they will have some momentum from that, you would think. They might get a goal right away. Here's Hornquist closing in, shooting, and it's deflected wide of the goal. Malkin over to the puck. Now out for Reeder. Collision at center ice. Two players went down. Reeder to the goal, and Greiss calmly swept the puck away from the front of the net so he couldn't get to it. Now Kunitz snaps it along for Ian Cole. Cole looks up. Kunitz is open on the wing. Here he comes. His shot, and it's wide of the goal. Kunitz with a heavy slap shot there. And now it's called Klaus Dahlbeck moving into the right side. Connor Murphy's slapper is gobbled up by Greiss. 14 shots for the Penguins, 12 for the Coyotes. No score. Patrick Hornquist back in the lineup. We'll speak with Dan Potash during your first intermission, presented by your neighborhood Ford store with Rob and Jay.
Good to get him in back in. Net front presence. How about that net front in front of your own net? Like the cotton bats stuck up the nostril. Stop the blood flow from coming out. Already he's been bloodied in the game. Has Lovejoy 140 hits from the blue line to lead all Penguin defensemen. Ben Lovejoy.
Joe Vitale wins the draw. Stone chops the puck wide of the goal. McGinn can't get through it. He was tied up nicely by Pouliot. Now it's taken by Steve Downey in his own zone. Checked tenaciously there by Ty McGinn. McGinn working hard against Downey. And the puck comes to the point where it's held in by Ekman Larsson for McGinn. He shoves it over to the right side for Stone. Back to the net. And the puck's sitting there, but Downey able to find it and turn it up the near wall. Kunitz can't get it out because Ekman Larsson poked it back into the corner. So a tough shift here for the Penguins as they're bottled up in their own zone. Good forechecking effort by the Coyotes. McGinn's shot partially blocked as he tried to wrist it to the net. Then Stone threw it to the goal. That hit a Penguin. And Kunitz steps out of his own zone, feeds it up the right way. It's tough, boy, when you're in your own zone like that checking, and then you don't have a lot left in the tank to go up ice and make anything happen offensively. So the Penguins are changing here on the fly. Malkin goes to the bench. 4 seconds to go in the period. And Smith gloves it with a fraction of a second remaining.
That was going to be an ice. Chris Letang did not have the red line. The linesman had his hand up. So the Penguins have a second to work with here instead of the Coyotes, who might have had a second at the other end of the ice.
Penguins probably should have more time to work with because...
Yeah, it was about 1.4, I thought. Greiss is coming to the bench. I don't know if they will put any... Yeah, Crosby's saying, hey, come on, Mr. Peel. I think we should add a little bit of time here. I looked up and saw 1.4 at first glance, but they're not going to get it.
And Crosby will take the face-off against Chipchura. And there is the horn ending the first period of play. A lot of shots, some really good scoring opportunities especially for the Penguins, but unable to beat Mike Smith.
And a 5-minute penalty kill. Como unavailable to the Penguins for the remainder of this game as he received a 5 in a game misconduct.
14 shots for Pittsburgh, 13 for Arizona. Let's go to Robin Jay.
Staggy and Bob, thanks very much, and I think those are the big storylines. First of all, the Penguins were dominating action, had some great scoring opportunities.
Right.
Mike Smith was really good. And then, Jay, on the other end, Blake Como with a 5-minute game misconduct. Not only did they kill that off, but they also now have to play again shorthanded in the forward department.
Yeah, you just want to see them get their lines going, you know, as you're going towards the play. We've talked about that a lot, but again, something you got to deal with. They got a lot of jump in their legs. They're moving. They've had opportunities. Mike Smith, really good.
Yep.
Again, you know, big goaltender, making a lot of great saves, and it's keeping it a 0-0 game. The hit by Como, he had a hard-working first period. It's a shame because he made a good, solid hit. That one just a little louder. You know, I didn't know if it deserved the 5-minute, but it is what it is, and they get to pick it up from there.
All right, no score after 20 minutes of play. Coming up in the first intermission report, brought to you by your neighborhood Ford store. Dan Potash will catch up with Patrick Hornquist back in the lineup, plus Jay's analysis when we return. Mike Smith, the Arizona goaltender in that first period, couldn't solve him, but not for lack of trying. Steige and Bob have the second period, guys.
And you see the camera shot from the incline as it's going up. That's what the Penguins are trying to do, Bob. Go up, and to do that, you got to go into the paint, I think. At least that's what the Penguins are trying to do today.
Yeah, or you got to go down first, and then you got to go up. And that's what's been happening, but they have been going to that blue paint, trying to get in the face of Mike Smith, who was brilliant in that first period of play. A couple of quick whistles. There's a whack by Kunitz on netminder Smith. There's Hornquist. And Mike Smith has been fantastic with his big size. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, talk about him and his 21 goals. Look at his ice time, 11-12. There was that injury to Andrew Campbell after the Como hit and the 5-minute power play.
Today's face-offs are presented by the new face of Northwood Realty Services. And the Coyotes won 55% of the draws in the first period. Crosby was even 4-4. Malkin won 3 and lost 4. And the Penguins outshot Arizona 14-13. Killed that 5-minute major and now look to get the first goal in this one. Malkin shoots it to the net and a save by Smith, and then Downey in there looking for the rebound. And again, the whistle. It seems like Smith, Bob, has trouble because he's so tall, sometimes getting down there to find those loose pucks around his equipment. And so it's been some situations where the whistle has either not blown or blown too early.
That almost slipped in, you know. Yeah. That could have easily hit his right pad. See how it was bounced on the top of his right pad? It could have went the other way. And he was very fortunate there. Yeah, he's a big netminder with all that equipment. So sometimes the goalies can't even feel the puck hitting them. You don't even know exactly where it is.
This is Shane Doan, longest tenured captain in the league, bouncing one to the glove of Thomas Greiss, who's been solid today so far.
11 years for Shane Doan as the captain of this team.
Yeah, not the original captain. That was Keith Tkachuk when he came over from Winnipeg, but I guess you could say Doan was the first captain of the Phoenix franchise, as it were, when it became itself after no longer being considered the Winnipeg Jets. They have their own franchise now, another one, which was once the Atlanta Thrashers. Murphy wristing one wide of the goal, and now over to the far wall. Bennett gets over, trying to get a hold of it to get it out, but it's Schwartz sending it back in behind the goal. Chikchura sent it back to the corner, now up the wall. Nice pass by Bennett to Spalling. Gets to the red line and is confronted there by two Coyotes who push the puck back towards the Penguin zone, and now Schwartz looking around for it. Pouliot over to the corner, battling to get possession if he can. Spalling got a stick on it and pushed it back to neutral ice. And a lead pass eludes everybody, but no icing on the play as the teams are changing. At least the Coyotes are changing, and the Penguins take a left wing pass to Spalling. Steers it in behind the goal, and Moss has it down. And Moss, a big guy, 6'4", 210. Hornquist had to go off his shin pad at center ice. Back to the Penguin defense. Friends dump it in. Smith scrambles out of the net, plays the puck again. Moore banks it off the boards to center to Moss. Try to go left wing, but good back pressure there by Daniel Winnick on the back check, picking it off in the neutral zone. Sidney Crosby tries to wind it up. Hornquist was upended in the neutral zone, gets back up, gets in after, Smith shoots it right by him out to center.
Arizona had 6 guys. They tripped up Hornquist on a change.
Now Scuderi moves it along for Ian Cole. Stumbles a moment, then moves it out to center. This is good checking here by the Coyotes, and Vitale with it now shoots, and that's off a leg. A couple times now they had good gap control in the neutral zone, and they've been right there to force a turnover as the Penguins are trying to move the puck to center ice. And that's just good structure from Dave Tippett's team here in the second period so far. Penguins doing the same thing there as they force a turnover. Now Kunitz steers it along for Downey. Try to go to Malkin. Don't forget the Penguins are playing without Blake Como, so they're juggling their lines a bit. Como had been playing with Malkin and Kunitz. Now Downey has moved up to play in that position.
When you talk about structure, talk about structure in the defensive zone for the Penguins. They want to overload one side to get the puck over. There's 3, you got 1 shading. And now watch Bennett. He's in the middle of the ice. Typically the old days you'd stay over there. He comes all the way over to chip that puck by Murphy to get the puck out. That is support, that's help, that's the way the Penguins want it. Overloading to one side of the ice to exit the puck.
Now taken by Spaulding. Carried to center now by LaPierre. Force it to the corner. In after it is Craig Adams. Now LaPierre follows on to get to the puck. Max LaPierre tripped, knocked down, drew a penalty. So that's the second consecutive game that LaPierre has drawn a penalty.
Oh boy. LaPierre did a good job. He felt the arms around him and he helped clamp down on that stick and draw the penalty. Good stuff there. LaPierre was very visible in the first period as well with 3 shots on net.
He's brought his game up a notch. You can just tell he is dialing it up now as we get closer to the playoffs.
So here's LaPierre moving the puck out. There he feels wrapped up, stick between his legs. No, he didn't have to do any diving there. You can't have the stick between anybody's legs. And LaPierre was the old can opener. Shouldn't be any argument there. The Penguins go to the power play with a chance to put the first one on the board here.
Penguins power play. 0 for the last 6 of the last couple of games. They need one here. Malkin back on the power play, of course, as is Hornquist. He's in front of the net. Crosby with Kunitz in the high slot. Letang sneaking in and out in that back door. Kunitz back to Sid, to Gino. Now to Letang. With Malkin, fakes the shot to Crosby and right back to Malkin. There's the shot. That's blocked. Malkin gets it back. Wrists it over to Letang. Kunitz in the high slot. Hornquist in front of the net. Letang finds Crosby. To Malkin. Right back to Sid. Across to Letang. Too many passes for this Penguin power play again. Not shooting the puck. And Letang gets it and tries to move it out to the point. There was nobody there because that's where he usually is. And Hornquist came over to get the puck. But it ends up back at center, and then the Coyotes able to shoot it all the way down. Boy, that looked like a lot of power plays we've seen this year from the Penguins. Here's Malkin now coming and moving into the right wing. If they can get it going off the rush here. Wrapped around to the near side for Kunitz. Malkin and Letang at the points. Hornquist on the ice, comes racing over, but the Coyotes able to move the puck out. And Reeder steps up towards Letang, who was able to bump him away from the puck.
Good job by Letang. Reeder's got that speed. He tried to change it into another gear.
Here's Kunitz shooting off the rush, and a save made by Smith on Chris Kunitz. So the Penguins' power play opportunity comes from the rush. And Kunitz getting the shot and going to the bench now as the Penguins change up, get to their second power play unit.
You got to take what you can get. And the Penguins had a good rush. They were able to push the defense back with their speed, and a lot of times you can get the netminder moving when you do that. But Smith was already so deep in his net. He just plays deep in his net. He's not like conventional goaltenders play a little bit more to the top of their crease. He's right on that goal line.
Martin. Pouliot will take the pass from Martin. Downey in front of the net, the save made. Rebound, Bennett fired it, it's blocked. Bennett gets it back. Moves it out to the point to Paul Martin. Martin 25, to Paul Bennett.
25.
Downey now low, and Bennett couldn't get on the puck. Good read there defensively by Michael Stone, and then the Coyotes get it all the way down. 18 seconds remaining on the penalty to John Moore. Martin. Bennett, backhander, kicked away by Smith. Good save. Sutter over to get the puck. Well, 2 good chances off the rush on the power play for the Penguins. Bennett and Kunitz getting them. Now Paul Martin steps out. The Coyotes successful in killing the penalty. No score in the game. The lead pass steered in by Adams. Well, and there's LaPierre. Brings it up the wall. Trying to get it back down to the corner to Adams, but the Coyotes force it to center. Cunningham. Bouncing puck taken by Reeder in the corner along the wall. Reeder reverses it back in behind the net. Arcabello couldn't play. Adams looking for the puck. So is Spaulding, but the Coyotes get it, and it's Shane Doan with it now. Centers for Reeder. Tried to tip it to himself going to the net. Couldn't pull it off.
Tip it, yeah, with his stick, through his legs, tried to get it back on the other side. He's a talented guy, Staggy. He's got 12 goals on the season here in Arizona.
Icing against the Coyotes. Don't forget, if you enjoy a cold one along the way, you're going to get a chance to enjoy Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
I don't see Andrew Campbell on the bench. Don't know if he's been able to get back into this hockey game after he was hit by Como. 5-minute boarding call in the game misconduct. So they're down to 5 defense, and the Penguins are down to 11 forwards.
Chance here. Winnick shooting save made, and the rebound bounced right away from Hornquist, who was driving to the net. Winnick with a quick release there, almost scored. Penguins are getting opportunities, but Smith has been right there to stop everyone so far. Now Crosby lost control of it. Ekman Larsson sent it ahead to begin, who knocked it out of midair. And back again it goes. Penguin defense. Martin ahead now for Crosby. Couldn't take that pass cleanly. Coyotes dump it right back into the Penguin zone. Martin goes back for it. Vitale in on the forecheck. A real battle there. 2-on-2 in the corner. Winnick was there, but the Coyotes keep it in. Time again spins out of a check behind the net. Dished in front, trying to get it to Crombie. Penguins don't let that happen. And now the puck off a stick up into the netting on the near side.
Well, Daniel Winnick got his first as a Penguin against the Coyotes in Arizona. He tried to do it again, but Smith's left pad got in the way.
We mentioned earlier in the broadcast that Dave Tippett is a former Penguin. Well, how about another one? Back in September, former Penguin Steve Sullivan, hired by the Coyotes as development coach, where he oversees all pro player development and works closely with their minor league affiliates. He said that he still wanted to stay involved with the game, and now he gets a chance to see things from the other side, which, of course, Bobby, as we would tend to think, you see things differently as a coach than you did as a player. But it's probably good to be able to share that wisdom both ways.
A lot of wisdom, and he has, too.
Yeah, I think you look when he played, I think a lot of players at the end of their career, they start thinking about coaching as that puck goes by Greiss Staggy, and I think Dave Tippett was one of those guys.
Downey over to play and trying to get it out. Poked back to the corner, Erab, but now Downey does get a hold, and he's able to throw it ahead to Malkin. Malkin trying to go around Moore. Forces it all the way to the corner, takes Moore to the corner, and then throws it in front. Downey there, and he just could not tee it up. Just wouldn't cooperate as he went in front of the net. Usually Downey's pretty good at those situations.
Campbell's back on the ice for the Coyotes.
Scuderi backhands it in deep. Downey there, working down low with Kunitz. Sutter comes onto the ice now. Pass went for Cole, but it off a stick of the Coyote and back into the Penguin zone. The Coyotes will change now as Scuderi goes back for the puck in his own zone. Sends it back around for Ian Cole. Cole moves it right side. Bo Bennett down the right wing against Vitale. Sutter came over to help out. Sutter and Vitale in the duel. And Vitale wins. Banks it off the boards to center where Cole stops up. Fires it over to Scuderi. He softly sends it to the corner. Bo Bennett will get in after it. Solid hit on Connor Murphy by Bo Bennett. Now Crombie backhands into the middle, and right there was Sutter to throw it right back into the corner to Bo Bennett. Bennett tried to leave it in the corner for his line mate Nick Spaulding, but it's broken up and cleared by Joe Vitale, working well deep in his own zone. Now Cole slaps it around, past Sutter to Bennett, who steers it into the Coyote zone. No score in this hockey game. Crombie dumps it in behind the goal. The tang is there. Patrick Hornquist snaps it out on left wing, trying to get it to Daniel Winnick. Goes off a stick and up into the netting.
And you can't say the Penguins aren't getting chances. They have 19 shots. And there's a good forecheck, a battle won by Malkin. Out to Downey, who tried that move again, Steggy, but the stick of Smith got in the way. You can see right there. Downey was going to pull it again from backhand to forehand and flick it up over the pad as he scored his last goal. And the stick check, the poke check right there, Mike Smith was there to deny him.
Downey has 13 goals. He was looking for 14 there. Smith has been tough. The Penguins have 19 shots. And a pass across by Crosby, picked off in the middle, and the Coyotes go the other way. Ekman Larsson couldn't settle it down, but Cunningham backhands it in behind the goal. Back over to the far side where Hornquist has it. Taken now by Schwartz, and his shot up high, juggled by Grace, and he holds on. And the Coyotes have only 14 shots on goal. They outshot the Sabres 41-31, and Detroit 41-35. Let's look at our great day for hockey, brought to you by Day Automotive. Greg Malone netting his first and only hat trick with the Penguins against Doug Sotart, whose nickname was Soapy. Played for the New York Rangers.
Arcabello on the ice, former Penguin, fourth team in one season for Arcabello. Wow, been putting up some numbers though, Staggy, with his goal scoring. 15 on the season.
Did not score for the Penguins, had a couple of assists in 10 games. Now here's Pouliot with it. Backhands it ahead for Adams. Penn was playing without two pretty good wingers here again today, when you consider the loss of Como to the penalty, and also Perron. That's two guys who can score, one left winger and one right winger. Of course, getting Malkin and Hornquist back in the lineup, so still it's another day where the Penguins basically aren't playing with a full complement of players. So it's really difficult to judge this Penguin team. Maybe we're just going to have to judge them on the basis that they're a team that's very rarely able to put all their players on the ice. Now Spalling behind the net. Acapello pushed it away from him to the near side. Let's just hope that the postseason will bring more luck to the Penguins in the injury department. Now Arcabello with it on the right wing, and he shoots it long, and the stick save made by Grice. Coyotes keeping in. Arcabello again dumps it to the corner. Pouliot goes back to get it. And each minute that ticks by without the Coyotes falling behind in this game, the more confidence you'd think they would get. Their goaltender keeping them in the game and a chance to win it here. Now here's Kunitz centering, and it goes right through the slot, taken by Gagne. Gagne sent it back to Connor Murphy. Pass off the leg of Erat, and then Murphy got over to make sure it got to the Penguin line, where Scuderi finds his partner Ian Cole. Back to Rob Scuderi. David Moss dishes it to Erat. Erat to Gagne. Can't shoot it. Stripped of the puck nicely by Ian Cole. It takes off the other way for the Penguins. Hands it off to Chris Kunitz. Kunitz and Cole. Cole driving to the net. The shot. The save made by Smith on Kunitz. So Smith does it again, and no rebound opportunity there. Right to the belly pad.
Mike, your shot volume is up. What else are you looking for in this game?
Well, I think we just have to make sure we play well defensively. We talked about it. And any loose turnovers we get, it's about transition speed and really attacking the net hard. But we've got to get above their checks. Sometimes the puck bounces, and you've got to make sure you're on the defensive side so you can counter against them.
You've got to be patient in this situation, is what you're saying?
Well, to a degree, but when we have a chance to attack or when we have a chance to make a play down low, we've got to go hard to the net off the puck and make sure we're ready for some of those loose rebounds.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
There's a shot from Lovejoy that went right through the goal mouth area over to the near side.
Gotta find a rebound, Staggy. Find a rebound.
That was Bo Bennett who shot that puck, not Lovejoy. And Bo Bennett working hard now in the corner as he drops it off now for Sutter. Backhanded by Sutter down into the corner and off a stick. Chipchura tried to get it out. Held in now by Scuderi, and the puck floats wide of the goal. And now Chipchura over to get it. Sends it up for Cunningham. Cole prevented him from getting out, and now Cole has the puck. A little saucer pass over to Scuderi. And the shot hit Stone. It comes out to Cole, and he guns it high and wide off the glass. Taken now by Sutter. He and Cole will crisscross on a high cycle. Sutter brings it up high. Cole comes back up now to get into defensive position. And Scuderi finds him, and his shot kicked away by Smith. Penguins controlling the puck now in the offensive zone. They haven't done a lot of that today. As the puck goes up into the netting, that's going to be a penalty. A penalty against the Coyotes for shooting the puck out of play.
Well, you talk about in zone time. Tim Peel making this call here.
Arizona number 26, 2 minutes delay game.
That was great stuff in the zone. Defense getting involved. Cole had a couple of shots. Scuderi, you saw Sutter bringing the puck from low to high. Winnick getting on situations, and that puck looked like it could have almost clipped Winnick. It did not, as it's flipped over. And everybody looking up. There's the referee, Tim Peel, making the call. That might be something you might be able to review next year, Staggy, to make sure it didn't go off the sticker.
Malkin to Crosby, the shot. Smith to save, the rebound. Kunis couldn't get it, as he was blocked out a bit by one of the Coyotes. And now 2-on-1 quickly as Kunis gets back to even it up. The centering pass from Vitale, and he goes crashing into the boards. He was going 100 miles an hour into the wall.
Yeah, this is where you break stuff. When you go into the wall like that, that's where you break a wrist, a leg, an arm. And he was going 100 miles an hour. That 2-on-1 pass came through, and Kunitz got the stick 14. In there.
2 minutes for hooking.
And the Penguins had an incredible chance. Crosby moving in. Kunitz just can't buy a break out in front. And there's Kunitz putting his head down, coming back against Vitale. There's the trip. And sometimes you're lucky to get up from that. I got to tell you, as fast as he went in.
Wow.
The best thing that could have happened there is he was able to disperse a lot of his body into that wall. Legs, arms, he hit pretty flat into there, Staggy. And I tell you, he is very fortunate right now to be walking away from that. That was a car crash right there.
Ouch. Kunitz got the stick in between his legs, I think, there to trip him up as he went to the goal.
Well, he went to the locker room, but here we go.
Chance now for Arcapello. Checked closely from behind by Crosby, who took the puck away from him and found Malkin. Now Letang with it. 4-on-4 hockey. Tipped by Malkin on net, and the save made by Smith. Malkin again for Martin. He's in front, trying to shuffle it over to Crosby, and Smith cut it off with a goal stick, and he freezes.
I love the shot redirection there. As the Penguins try to get one by Mike Smith, which seems almost impossible right now. Good battle in front between Murphy and Crosby as well, as you can see. There's the tip and the pad save. Smith, look at the concentration. He plays deep near the goal line. He's got that split second longer to react to that type of play, that shot redirection. He was able to make that save.
The Coyotes had a big goalie by the name of Sean Burke, who works for their organization, and he's been talking to him maybe moving on to another team in a higher capacity. He works with Don Maloney, general manager of the Coyotes. Here's Moore with it, and he has done wonders with some goalies and just getting them to play a style similar to the way he played. He was also a big, tall goalie. He helped Mike Smith a little bit here. Phoenix in Arizona, and here's Pouliot now behind his own net. Steps out. Pouliot carrying the puck now to center, moves it to the right side. Winnick. He just seemed off balance there as that puck came to him, and he was unable to take it past cleanly. He was open too. Maybe he was trying to stay onside.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now Gagne takes the pass and he shoots it. That's blocked. The Penguins clear again, and now carrying to center ice is Brandon Sutter, crisscrossing with Downey. Sutter, and his pocket picked by Reeder. He goes the other way. Drops it off to Gagne. Gagne sends it back behind the net for Reeder. Scuderi reached in to make sure he didn't get it. 5:06 to go. It's a power play now for the Coyotes. 12 seconds remaining on the Kunitz penalty. And the Penguins clear it down. Connor Murphy goes back to get it.
Good back check by Reeder as Sutter and Downey had a good 2-on-2 situation.
Doan tried to power his way through, but Scuderi at the last second knocked it away. Kunitz comes out of the box. Was waiting for the puck to get to him. Now it is poked to the corner.
Oh, we got Letang's down, guys. Shane Doan, I don't know if it's Shane Doan hit him or what happened in the back. I just looked over my head, and boy, Letang is down. He's on his back. Now he's trying to get up, and he's This isn't good.
It appears to be pointing towards his leg.
Oh boy. I don't know. Well, I can't say I didn't even see it, so I shouldn't be making any kind of judgment here at all. Behind the play, there's Doan with the hit. Oh boy, hit him right on his backside, and you can see his head go into the dasher boards. I don't even know if he saw Shane Doan coming. Shane Doan is one of those players that, an honest guy that's going to finish every check, has done it each and every game he's played in the National Hockey League. Over 1,300 of them, and you could see Letang just got launched, Staggy, off his feet. He landed on his rear end and then went into the wall with his head.
And where was the puck when this happened?
I don't know how far the puck had been had left him. Here's the puck. There's the hit and the check.
Yep.
And you know, pretty honest hit. The only thing is he's in a vulnerable position and he's away from the boards and was unable to protect himself there after he tried to almost escape that hit. He just couldn't do it, and Shane Doan, just the force of that hit. He's a big man, is Doan. And you can see Letang head over heels there, head first into the wall. He was down for a long time. I think he was just trying to get his senses back, Staggy.
You're right.
To be honest with you, when he got up onto his, when you could see him trying to get his upper body up and almost sit up. Boy, it's very quiet in this building right now, as you could imagine.
Dr. Vias is on the ice talking to him right now.
The Penguins Masterton nominee, Chris Letang. Comeback player of the year here for Pittsburgh, as well as last year, coming back from the stroke.
Just a never-ending situation for the Penguins with injuries. We're just talking about it. We'll return in a moment. No score.
Take one more look at this full speed. Shane Doan, there's Chris Letang there as he goes back for the puck. He's going backwards, flicks the puck out, tries to turn, and then there's the hit by Shane Doan. Was it late? Maybe a tad. Does Shane Doan finish his check most every time? Yes. Letang tried to get out of the way and looked like he hit the back of his head on the wall, Staggy, as he was about 4 feet. And there's going to be a penalty here on McGinn right off the face-off, knocking the stick out of the hands of Hornquist. And Hornquist goaded him into that.
Slashing the call.
Yep.
Well, the Penguins are down a forward and they're down a defenseman now.
Take a look over by the boards here. McGinn, Hornquist. Look at Hornquist getting in there, agitating. Right here, the battle. The whack of the stick. The first part is just good hockey. It's just a good old-fashioned couple of Rams battling. You don't need the slash. It's a definite penalty. I don't see any argument there. And the Penguins with a chance to go up in this hockey game, minus Chris Letang.
And here comes Crosby flying as he gives the puck to Malkin. Now to Kunitz, across to Crosby, the shot, and he didn't get a lot on it. And there was Smith swimming in the crease. He still is with his goal stick off to the side. He shrugs his shoulders as if to say, hey, what the heck, I just had my stick knocked out of my hands. He picks it up.
Yeah, Smith's not very happy right now. What do we got here?
We got a linesman injured.
And right away, Kunitz wanted to grab a towel out of the penalty box. The linesman got hit. You know, he's got a lot of blood.
It's like he lost a tooth.
Yeah.
Or more than one tooth.
Oh, boy. Sidney Crosby with another great opportunity here with Smith down and out. Hornquist on the doorstep. Smith had lost his balance. He wasn't knocked down at all. And there's the stick. There's the puck just going wide. And there's the stick coming up into the mouth of the referee.
Kunitz's stick.
Yep. Kunitz knew right away. He tried to grab a towel out of the penalty box. And, he may have lost a tooth or two, yeah. The referees will discuss. We may go to the one referee. The one referee is going to have to take maybe some linesman responsibilities at one of the ends here right now, Staggy.
Now it's Hornquist with it. So it was Steve Barton who was injured. He goes off. Centering pass and a good save by Smith there on Crosby as he went to the net, tried to steer it in. And that big body of Smith down again on the goal line, as Bob said, playing deep, and he was able to make the save.
Well, those are the kind of chances you want. I mean, these are grade A opportunities. When you get a shot pass redirect at full speed, there's Hornquist. A little elevation to get over the stick of Ekman Larsson. There's the redirect. Those are quality chances. Our Super Bowl presented by Allegheny Health Network showing you that. You want guys driving to the net. Puck going wide, puck going to the net. And the Penguins are getting all these things right now. They can't light the lamp.
Malkin with it now. As we said, with Malkin out, the Penguins scored only 9 goals in the 7 games, and he's back, and the Penguins are hoping that gives them a spark in the goal-scoring department. Our spring training coverage wraps up from Citizens Bank Park as the Pirates play the Phillies in the annual On Deck Series. Don't miss any of it from Philadelphia Friday starting at 6:30 with Pirates pregame, presented by WB Mason on Root Sports.
Pirates are leading the Jays in the bottom of the 5th, 4-3. There we go. Shane Doan's got to answer. Downey.
Downey throws a left. Some right hands from Doan. Trying to come across with that right hand, and Downey's got a hold of his jersey above the right shoulder. There's a right hand from Downey, and another one with Downey's firing at the helmetless Shane Doan, and the linesmen step in. There were actually one referee and one linesman.
Downey knows the protocol, as does Shane Doan. No surprise to the captain of the Arizona Coyotes. And for Downey, he knew right away. You could see he didn't like it. And he said, we're going to go. We're going to go right now. And Shane Doan said, let's do it. Let's get it over with. Fair and square, a good even start. And Downey knew what he had to do. And Shane Doan knew exactly what was coming.
I'd like to hear an explanation from Downey as to why he didn't like it. And we'll find out from him when I get an opportunity over the next couple days. We'll get a chance to talk to him.
Well, guy, it's Letang in a vulnerable position, and some might consider it a tad late. So, and do you really need a reason? I don't think so. Your guy was hit. He was hurt. To me, you just stick up for your teammate in a situation like that.
Here's Crosby stepping in against Dahlbeck, trying to move it out to the point. McGinn's in the box for another 29 seconds. The Penguins with the UPMC Sports Medicine power play. Hornquist with it to Malkin. Pouliot is on the point with Paul Martin to Sidney Crosby. Back to Pouliot. Eric Pouliot looks it over, finds Martin. Martin now to Malkin, who popped out and across to Crosby. Well, he finally finds the puck. Dumps it rink wide. And that was not an effective play there. Sid finally did find the puck. He just turned it over. Now the Penguins regroup. Malkin turned it over himself.
Look at round 2.
And this is McGinn out of the box, and he shoots it off the stick of Paul Martin and up into the netting behind Thomas Greiss in the Penguins' goal.
Yeah, it was Downey who said he didn't like it to McGinn. Right after the Letang situation, he said, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So McGinn just didn't answer, didn't really respond to Downey's comments. Mike Johnson looking at his bench now. He's down a defenseman. He's down a forward in Como.
Now it's taken by Adams, and he'll dump it softly to the corner. Behind the net, up the wall. Vitale wanted to get it out. Adams bumped him. 2:17 remaining in this second period. Still no score in the game between the Penguins and Coyotes. And Spaulding trying to get it to the corner, couldn't do so. It comes out to center where it's backhanded back into the Coyote zone by Craig Adams. Ekman Larson goes back to him. LaPierre finishes him off. Spaulding steps in to get the puck. He takes a check from Joe Vitale. A pretty good battle right now between these two clubs. Now Vitale carries the puck to center ice. Cuts to his left and backhands it up into the Penguin zone. Then Lovejoy will go back to get it with 1:43 remaining. Lovejoy steps out. Hands it off to Ian Cole. Head down to LaPierre, who steers it into the Coyote zone. And another battle on the wall. We've seen a lot of that here. And the Coyotes come away with a puck. The pressure, though, by Daniel Winnick on Martin Erat, who has time again now to move it out. He banks it off the boards for center. The bouncing puck is knocked down nicely by Paul Martin ahead to Bennett. He tried to swing it over to Sutter. Stepping up to break that up was Campbell. Andrew Campbell, who was cut earlier in this game when a hit by Blake Como from behind and sent Como off with a major penalty. And game misconduct. The Penguins are without Perron, Como, and Letang at the moment. Here's Bo Bennett stepping into the Coyote zone. Stops up nicely, turns it back, hands the pass across. Winnick wheels it back over to the far corner for Spaulding. And that's Sutter on the ice. Sutter, Spaulding, and Bennett. Now Pouliot keeps it in with a nice play. Pouliot protects the puck. Eric Pouliot just dumps it off the wall. Connor Murphy went over. He went down in a heap. As Spaulding played it back to the point. Lovejoy a drive and a blocker save made by Smith. I'm not even sure if the Penguins are able to bring players up from Wilkes-Barre at this point. Letang is unable to play the next game on tomorrow night against San Jose. With the salary cap situation that they're faced with right now.
Sutter dragging himself off the ice right now. I mean, it's a battle.
Good shot and a good save by Smith there at Crosby.
Blocks there, the player bench. Crosby darts on the ice. He finds the puck right at the end of this period, right between the hash marks and Smith. Like he started the game, he ended the second period with another big save and kept this game knotted at zeros.
Let's go to Robin Jay.
Staggy and Bob, thanks very much. And Jay, when you look at this game, minus that 5-minute major when Blake Como drew the penalty in the first, this has just been dominated by the Penguins. They just haven't found a way to beat Mike Smith yet.
Again, you're going against a great a goaltender who's playing very well tonight. He's made some big saves. They've had point-blank opportunities. A lot going on in this game right now between the guys, Perron, Como, Downey, jumping in, going to be out for 5. Again, it's happened, but you got to like the way they're moving and where they're getting their opportunities. Still like to see a little more, instead of D to D, maybe D from a D right up to the forwards and get going. That'll be even more of a difference, more jump for Pittsburgh in transition.
All right, the Penguins and the Coyotes have played 40 minutes. Neither team has scored. Coming up next on the second intermission report presented by Mercedes, Dan Potash will catch up with Bo Bennett. They're also scoreless this afternoon with Arizona. If you're just joining us, here's what you missed, presented by your Western PA Honda dealers.
Join me in welcoming home from Iraq, Sergeant James Martin.
Crosby's backhander stopped by Smith. And now to Kunitz, across to Crosby, the shot, and he didn't get a lot on it. Good shot, a good save by Smith there at Crosby. Well, the Penguins certainly getting their cracks at that big goaltender Mike Smith, Bob, but they just can't seem to find a way to get behind him where he maybe get an opportunity where he really can't see it at all.
Yeah, I know. They bumped him early in the hockey game, Staggy, a couple of times, and it's just it's amazing the amount of times they've gone into the third period with no goals in a hockey game over the last dozen games. Here are some of the opportunities. And they have had some deflections. They just haven't had the rebounds. There has been some rebounds in front of Smith. The defense of the Coyotes have done a great job of taking away sticks for the most part in this hockey game. And look how long Smith is. Even when he gets his legs in the back of that net, he just takes up so much of it. We showed you that earlier. And we just have to keep pounding away.
And we're still waiting on any word for Chris Letang's situation, and when we get that, we'll pass it along. Didn't look good as Chris Letang had to be accompanied by a doctor for a while and then help down the runway. So hopefully he'll be okay. And Mike Johnston's Penguins will try to find a way to break through here against the Coyotes in the third period. The Penguins need points right now. It's getting a little scary because of the playoffs implications with the Ottawa Senators playing as well as they are. And they have a game against Pittsburgh, and they're closing the gap. The Penguins are having a tough time collecting points in the standings, and they'll need to get at least one here today against Arizona, you would think, the way things are going. So let's see if they can reach down a little bit here in the third period. Without Letang, without Como, without David Perron, who could not go today because of an illness.
Or without Steve Barton, Staggy, the Penguins, Kunitz got his stick into his mouth, and he won't return for this third period. So we have 2 referees and 1 linesman. One of the referees will assume the linesman duties.
Murphy's shot sails over the blocker of Greiss off the glass. Allbeck held it into the corner. Paul Martin battling there for possession. Snaps it out right in front of his own net to Winnick, who dished it off to Scuderi. He just throws it high into the air as Crosby is headed to the bench. And the Coyotes counter quickly. Chip Chura with a man driving to the net. Can't get it through as Kunitz came back to prevent it from happening. The Coyotes go D to D. Chip Chura into the Penguin zone. Is hit by Lovejoy. Back behind the net. Malkin can't get a stick on it, but it does come through now for Adams. Adams to Malkin. Gino, a game breaker who could do it all himself, looks back. And the pass was not there for Pouliot. And now Malkin's playing like a defenseman as the Coyotes come up ice. They can't make anything happen, and Pouliot's got it down for Pittsburgh. In the middle for Malkin, quick pass to Kunitz. Cooney cuts into the middle. Turns back to the backhand. Checked all the way by Joe Vitale. He dumps it behind the goal, and Malkin swings it up to the left point to Paul Martin. Martin's slapper intentionally wide. Comes to the corner. Bo Bennett dropped it back to Cole. Out of the corner. Centering pass. Malkin. He didn't get anything on it. He was there. He just could not get enough blade on that puck to get a good shot away on Mike Smith.
And even at that, it looked like for a second it might sneak in between his glove hand and the body of Smith. The Spalding came off the bench, and there's the knuckler in on Smith. Just blocking that puck.
Bo Bennett, Spalding, and Sutter on the ice for the Penguins with Scuderi and Cole on the blue line. From the faceoff, it's Bennett with it. Swings it back in behind the net. Spalding to the corner for Bennett. Bennett snaps it out to Cole. Slap shot right on, and a save again by Smith and no rebound. That's that quick release by Ian Cole right there.
Yeah, Sutter wanted the redirect. One more look at the Letang injury, hit by Shane Doan after he played the puck. He was just on the other side of the goal line, and then he was hit and launched into the boards, hit his head as he fell back. He was down and tried to get up on his own accord just for a second, Staggy, and then the doctor came out and he was escorted off the ice by the players, and as soon as we get any word at all, we'll certainly pass it on.
Like Doan turned a little bit to hit him, and also a little bit of a shove there on Letang. Now Chip Chura down the right wing into the Penguin zone, throws it to the net, and Reeder steered it on goal, and the save made by Greiss. Now Reeder again sending up the wall, taken by Daniel Winnick. Winnick into the middle to Sidney Crosby, and he'll dump it into the Coyote zone. And to get it goes Hornquist, sending up the wall for Crosby. Centers for Winnick. Try to get it back to the front of the net, and the Coyotes defend that well. It's Ekman Larsson snapping it ahead to Arcabello. Back across to Stone.
Boy, Greiss has been good in this hockey game, Staggy. I know we talked a lot about Smith here, but Greiss has made some big saves for his team, and he looks very composed.
Right wing to Brandon Sutter. Trying to get a step on Ekman Larsson. He shoots it, big save, and a big rebound. Bennett couldn't corral it. But now Cole steps up, and he shoots it. It's blocked. He tried to get it back. Held in by Sutter, covering for Cole. Sutter throws it to the net. That's off a skate as Bennett went swooping through the slot. And now it's Connor Murphy lifting it off the boards and back to center ice. Good sequence there for the Penguins. They're buzzing right now in the offensive zone of the Coyotes. Bo Bennett sends it down into the corner for Spaulding, turning out of the check.
They're winning a lot of battles here for pucks, are the Penguins.
Well, they've been doing it the whole game. They're out shooting the Coyotes 30-18. They've had a lot of shots and a lot of looks at the net, but Smith has not had to make any second chance saves. At least maybe a couple. That's it. Schwartz with it, swinging around the defenseman. Cole stops up, protects the puck. Malkin got over. He got tripped. Malkin went down in a heap. He gets himself back up. And Kunitz trying to get to it. Now Malkin in center. He spun away with the puck, trying to bring it to the middle, but it went off his stick and is taken by Andrew Campbell. Campbell sent it ahead. And it's an icing call. I thought Schwartz touched that puck, and so does he. He's saying something to the linesman right now. But he did not, so they're going to bring it back. And an icing call against the Coyotes.
Thomas Greiss, 18 saves in this hockey game. Couple through screens. That one through Dome. And that last one, the redirect off Reeder. That was a big save by Greiss, who's compact in that net. Another big netminder, the former Coyote himself.
Kunitz hustling over to the puck. Swings it back in behind the net for Downey, who's hit hard by Campbell. Malkin in there trying to pry the puck away from Chipchura, who moved it out to center. Taken now by Moore. He's hit by Kunitz right into the turnbuckle over there. And it's handled now by Downey, and Downey moved it into the middle looking for Lovejoy. That pass didn't connect, but Downey pokes it away. Malkin raced in there after it. They kept him from getting it. And the Coyotes move it to center. And the Penguins take it away, and now it's Pouliot pressured by Joe Vitale. Pouliot trying to get away from Vitale, who won that little duel, and he gets the puck to the near wall. Crombie moves it out to Dahlbeck at the point. A shot, he scores. Deflected in maybe, or no? I think it just went straight in. And Klaus Dahlbeck has scored for the Coyotes. The former Blackhawk makes it 1-0.
Vitale right in front of the net. Thomas Greiss didn't get a great look at it. It was a bomb from the blue line. And Vitale just went right to the front of the net. After the puck came from the corner, Vitale from behind the net, that goes to the corner. They win a battle, the Coyotes, to get it to the point. There's a shot through, and Vitale waved the stick at it, but he went right by the netminder Greiss right before the puck went there. Greiss couldn't see it cleanly all the way. It's a bomb by Dahlbeck. It went down. It looked like it dipped in the high slot, Stag. You could see. I thought it was directed by Ty McGinn on the high slot as he made a big pump after that puck went in.
Could have very well have been either way. It started when Pouliot went back, and Joe Vitale just doggedly forced him to turn the puck over, and the Penguins never got it out after that, and then they end up scoring the goal. Now it's Hornquist on the right wing into the Coyote zone. Penguins down 1-0 now to the Coyotes. Arcabello has it skip by his stick, and now Greiss moves it along to Cole. His pass doesn't connect with anybody, and it goes back up into the Coyote zone. Boy, a huge goal for Phoenix when you consider how long it's been since either team has been able to score a goal. The first goal in this game really means even that much more. And they're able to get it. And a shot from the point that Greiss never saw. And now Paul Martin, pressured by Erat, turns. And the Penguins in a tough spot right now. This is a real gut check situation for Pittsburgh. Sutter moving in against Campbell, shooting, and a save made by Smith. Penguins without Como and Letang, losing both of those players in the course of this game.
Now it's going to be tough. You know, Arizona, they're going to stack the middle of the ice up here. Malkin coming down deep, trying to get speed here. He wants the puck. Wasn't in his wheelhouse. He had to stop. The Penguins going to have to navigate through this neutral zone.
Now Kunitz closing in and shooting. And he comes right in front. Downey there. Oh, he wanted to tee it up, and then it just wandered away from him. Shot back to the net, this time by Pouliot. And at the last second, Smith steered that away. Now Pouliot gets back defensively to Scuderi, and right back to Derek Pouliot.
McGinn is the second of the season. Dahlbeck and Crombie in the assists.
So McGinn does get it. He tipped it in. Malkin after the puck.
He's going to try to open it up here now. You can just sense it with Malkin out here. Roaming the ice.
And we get an offside play. Downey, he had designs on kind of peeling back and getting a better shooting angle, and the puck wandered off the stick.
He's dangerous around that net. He's got a nose. Well, it's 1-0 Phoenix down here. You know, there's not a lot of chatter on the Penguins bench, but I see a lot of work rate on the ice. I do see the legs moving. They're winning a lot of battles. They didn't get one puck battle that led to a Arizona goal, excuse me, Staggy, but you know, it's workmanlike, and it's been that way since the start of the game. They're getting shots to the net, and Smith has just taken away this game from them so far.
Yep, and we've seen a lot of that lately. Goalies are doing their thing against Pittsburgh. On the latest Inside Penguins Hockey, Patrick Hornquist is mic'd up for warm-ups in Calgary. Bo Bennett shows off some of his musical talent on the Ivories. And it's all today after postgame on Root Sports. Another shot. This one missed the target. As Hornquist fired it. Now Hornquist goes to the front of the net. The puck is there. He bowled right over one of the Coyotes on the doorstep to try to get to the puck, and Smith found it before he could get a blade on it, and the net is dislodged. There really isn't anybody in hockey who burrows in there quite like Patrick Hornquist.
Well, he did everything he could. I mean, he tried to push everybody in. He tried to push Ekman Larsson. He tried to push Smith. He tried to push the goalie. Everything he possibly could, he was trying to push across that goal line. I don't know if there's anybody better at that in the game than that man right there, Mr. Hornquist.
Looks to me how the Penguins are going to have to score a goal today. They're going to have to throw everything in the kitchen sink into the net. Here's a shot, kicked away, rebound, Winnick, he scores! Daniel Winnick, a former Coyote, ties it at 1.
Well, the Penguins get a big face-off, and they get a rebound opportunity. Crosby goes to the wall. There's the shot, and bang, a little rebound for Winnick. As he was able to pick up that rebound. Smith's not in great position. Couldn't see it coming through. Ekman Larsson couldn't block it. Neither could Stone. And Winnick with 2-2 against the Coyotes, his former club, has tied it at 1, and the crowd is into it now.
Yes, we saw the other night with St. Louis got goals from Bortuzzo and Gotch. And now we've seen Winnick score 2 goals here against his former team. That seems to happen a lot, doesn't it? Nice to see it happen on the good side for the Penguins. A shot by Reeder is blocked. So the Penguins have tied it to get the crowd going in this game, and Winnick got rid of that puck in a hurry. He pounced on that loose puck, and a quick release. Here's Malkin with it now. Kunis drives to the net. Malkin to the slot. He's tripped. And he still got a shot away. But nothing was called. Now the shot by Pouliot is blocked in front, and Reeder swings it ahead. And Shane Doan's going to get in after. Lovejoy beats him with a puck. His foot race there. You saw.
They waved it off, though, the ice.
Yeah, they did. And Lovejoy, because he won that race, didn't he? He really was flying back to that puck. And Doan really didn't look like he was trying all that hard. Here's either that or he can't skate anymore. Here's Sutter dropping it off to Bo Bennett, coming to the goal, and his backhander stopped by Smith.
It's going to be a high stick here. Sutter got clipped by a high stick.
It's no fun out there today, is it?
And we'll see if it's going to be a 2 or a 4. Sutter's going over to Tim Peel.
Minor penalty, high sticking.
It's a minor, but look, Sutter's saying, hey, I got some blood here.
Let's see.
And Tim Peel's going to let me see. Yeah, he's not going to give it to him. There's the clip of the high stick. Gagne. Good opportunity by Bo Bennett. I like the way he went in with some vigor. With a good shot. Smith had to be tight to that goalpost to make the initial save on Bo Bennett.
UPMC Sports Medicine power play. A big one here for the Penguins. A chance to take the lead. Sometimes it's not how many power plays. Sidney Crosby got tripped off the draw there. He got his legs pulled out from under him. Still able to get the puck to the point. And Malkin shot, stop, rebound. Kunitz and Hornquist jamming away at it. And Smith able to stop play.
Wow. A couple of axemen in front of the net. Horny, he's a little bit banged up going to the face-off. There's Crosby off that face-off. Yep, tripped by Vitale. But look at the traffic in front. He got hit by that shot. And then there's Smith with that pad and the skate tight to that goalpost. And the Penguins just trying to, put that kitchen sink in, as you said earlier.
Crosby brings it up high. Across now for Malkin. It goes all the way through to Pouliot. Downey's in front of the net. Here's Malkin to Crosby. The shot. It missed. It was Hornquist, I beg your pardon, in front. Hornquist still on the ice. He was favoring his left leg after taking that shot, standing in front of the goal. And then the Coyotes able to clear it down the ice.
Big time. Big chance right here for Pittsburgh.
Hornquist takes it at center and fires it up into the left wing corner. Connor Murphy gets back and nicely gets to the puck and didn't waste any time to turn and fire it up the open ice to get it all the way down. A minute 10 to go in the penalty to Campbell. Crosby in over the line. Drops it off. Downey, the shot. Score!
Well, Downey got into the scrap. Now he's talking to the bench. And what a shot that was by Steve Downey. Great speed by Crosby. He's going to back everybody off. Push everybody down deep. Downey off the wall, right shot. And he drilled that over the right pad. Absolutely leaned into that over the right pad under the blocker. Perfect placement by Steve Downey. So Downey was able to talk with his fists with Mr. Doan, and now with his stick has put the Penguins up 2-1.
2 minutes and 3 seconds apart. The Penguins score their 2 goals in this period to make it a 2-1 hockey game. After the Coyotes had struck first. Now Adams in to get it. That's some character there shown by the Penguins, who, as you know, have not come from behind when they've trailed going to the third period. To fall behind here in this game and then come bouncing right back to get 2. We talked a little bit on the postgame the other night about resilience, and the Penguins show some right here to make it 2-1, and they've got 40 shots on net now against Smith. 19 for the Coyotes on Greiss.
Well, the Penguins were down 2 right-handed shots on their power play with Como and Letang. So they get Downey out there, Staggy. I believe it was the power play, was it not?
Yes.
And he's able to capitalize.
Sutter takes a bounce off the boards. It comes down the wing. He guns it right over the head of Smith. And it comes off the corner boards on the other side. Out to Scuderi to Paul Martin. Malkin picks up an assist. There's a shot by Spalling. Steered away by Smith. Another Penguin is down here.
Sutter's down again. He got clipped again.
Yes.
It's going to be a penalty. The referee's hand is up.
Sutter heading over to the bench. I think Michael Stone got him.
This one will be a 4-minute. I see a lot of blood this time. Steve Downey on the power play, giving the Penguins a 2-1 lead. Well, it's a dangerous game, and the stick of Stone comes up into the face of Sutter. Consecutive shifts, high sticks on Brandon Sutter, and Sidney Crosby with a pair of points here. 77 on the season, 1 ahead of Voracek, 3 ahead of Tavares.
Voracek has a couple of assists today for the Flyers.
That was the 3rd power play goal of the season for Steve Downey. Put the Penguins up, and another chance here on the power play. It's a 4-minute power play for the Penguins here. A double minor.
Here's Pouliot stepping out now, moving it ahead of Crosby. The Penguins 1 for 4 of the man advantage. Crosby against Campbell. Shoots it right on, and the save made by Smith.
You know, the energy, you can feel it. I mean, it's just palpable right now, Staggy. It's just incredible in this building, the difference. What you feel when Sidney Crosby has got that puck. You see, he backed off the defense for the Downey goal. He's flying right now, and everybody can sense it. I mean, it's just anticipation when he gets the puck. Everybody on the edge of their seat.
Martin to Pouliot. To Paul Martin. Sid's on the left side of the ice now. In front for Hornquist. And he's about to turn it back to the forehand. I think he wanted a full Smith there, and he stayed on the backhand and tried to go upstairs on him. Now Martin shoots it off the stick of Pouliot right to Crosby. Tried to go to Malkin, and it hit a Coyote, but it comes through now from Martin to Malkin. Malkin back to Paul Martin straight away. Malkin snaps it along for Pouliot. In front, Crosby there. He scores! Sidney Crosby right on the doorstep.
Oh boy, here we Smith is on top of Malkin right now. You got to watch the skates as they go by Crosby's face. Crosby was right in the crease, straddling the pads of Smith. Smith can't believe it. But that's how you score goals. And the Penguins, they're feeling it right now. Momentum is a strange thing. And the Penguins may be getting it at the right time here. On a power play goal by Sidney Crosby. Penguins moving the puck around, getting the puck down. Look at the traffic in front of the net. Hornqvist and Sidney Crosby on the doorstep. There's Crosby straddling the pads of the netminder as he gets a little shove from behind. He goes off his knee and in behind Mike Smith.
And we talked a lot over the years about Sid being down by the goal line on the power play, and there's an example right there of what he can do when he's close to the net.
Shane Doan can't believe it. He's in an argument right now with Tim Peel. Bodies all over the place. And this is a hockey game in Pittsburgh.
And there's the Arizona Coyotes, who are 29th in the league overall and playing like they're playing for their lives. The goal is under review because it was not shot into the net. It did go off Sidney Crosby and into the goal. Off his leg, it appeared.
Take another look at this. There's a little disc pass across, the shot to the net, and Crosby. Pouliot with the shot, stick, knee. And then he tried to shuffle it over with the stick again as Mike Smith just can't move right now with the traffic. There's another good look from the overhead, guys. Off the stick and off the leg of Crosby, and then a little kick with the skate. And they're looking at this in Toronto, guys. See that extra little motion, Staggy, with the skate? God, I'd love to see that overhead again. One more look as it's still under review. It hit Crosby's skate again at the end, guys. We're going to get a definitive call right now.
After video review, it was determined there was no kicking motion on the play. We have a good goal.
So no kicking motion. Tippett doesn't like it. Neither does Doan. Nobody likes it on the Arizona bench.
Too bad. They weren't looking at the review.
It's the review from the overhead. That one last one, Stay. Watch the right skate of Crosby. That kick, and he didn't touch it again. Is it distinct kicking motion? I don't know. I saw his skate kick it. But was it distinct is the key. It was some sort of kick, but it wasn't distinct. And they want more goals in the National Hockey League. They've given the players a little more latitude and the referees on that call this year. And that's a good example of it right there. Because last year, that would not have been a goal. In my opinion.
It's still a power play for the Penguins here, by the way. So they have 2 power play goals in the hopper here in the third period. They're trying to get another one. UPMC Sports Medicine power play.
Good talk there, Malkin. He wanted that puck and he got it from Cole.
Crosby with it again. He's had 3 points here in this period. Now Lovejoy moves it along for Cole. Cole sliding down the left side. Throws it to Hornqvist. Not sure what he was doing there, but the puck goes all the way back into the Penguin zone.
I tell you, though, they're feeling it, though, aren't they? Hornqvist makes such a difference on this power play. He gets to the front of the crease and he opens everything up for the passers. Of course, you got Malkin there with his dish pass on the last goal. You got to have your pieces, and when you're missing some of your pieces, it's tough. The Penguins are missing Letang right now as he was injured. We haven't heard word on him as he left in the second period after a Doan hit.
I think, Bob, it's just a case of attrition. You know, you get this many shots, 45 now for the Penguins. Eventually, you're going to break through. The odds would say that. Mike Johnson loves to talk about that, percentages. 45 shots, 3 goals for the Penguins in 4 minutes and 8 seconds here in the third.
Well, they were doing the right thing, weren't they? And they were sticking to it. It wasn't working. And trust me, it is frustrating, but they kept doing it, and they kept doing it, and it's paid off here in the third period of play, even though they gave up the first one.
Malkin has a couple of helpers in the game, a couple of second assists here in the third period as well. Crosby with 3 points, a goal and 2 assists, and he's got the puck right now. Sidney Crosby leaving it for Pouliot. Martin. To Gino. And the pass not there for Martin. He's got to go back into his own zone to get it. 19 seconds remaining on this power play. Pouliot is replaced now by Ian Cole. He takes the pass from Martin. Crosby goes to the bench. And the Penguins bring it up for one more rush with the man advantage. Sutter for Bennett, who taps it down into the corner for Sutter. Malkin still on the ice. Scuderi for Malkin. It goes by him behind the net to Sutter. Sutter has Malkin coming to the net. Oh, and he fans on the chance. Almost made that connect. And Vitale turning away from Sutter. Good dogged checking there by Sutter after the power play had expired. And the Coyotes not able to make a pass to get out of their own zone, and they give it right back to the Penguins with Rob Scuderi moving it along now for Downey down the right wing. But Downey's been a force in this game. One hands it in front. You got to give him a ton of credit, Steve Downey.
Yep.
He'd be one of my stars today, for sure. Now here's Lovejoy stepping up and bumping Gagne. LaPierre bumps the man in the corner. Finally, Lovejoy sent it up the wall for Downey, and a nice outlet pass there to Spaulding, who banks it off the wall to himself. Gets in after it first. No Penguins there to help Spaulding there as the Coyotes bring it out of their own zone. Over to get it goes Moore, but Pouliot got there first. Good closing speed there by Pouliot. And he poked it into the Arizona zone. 5:29 to go in the third period. The Penguins were sitting in a tough spot, down 1-0 in a game that looked like they couldn't buy a goal. And all of a sudden, in 4 minutes and 8 seconds, they've got a 3-1 lead. Arcabello drops it back on defense.
Well, I guess what you're saying is they came back in the third, Staggy. They weren't down after 2, but it was a good comeback.
Who said it was a gut check? And they checked nicely, haven't they?
Well, they still got to keep checking here with 5 minutes left on the clock, but they have that part in their game. That part hasn't wavered from this hockey team. They've been solid defensively this year. And extra minutes here for Pouliot, for Cole, for Lovejoy. Without Letang there, absorbed so many minutes.
Reeder fans on the shot, partially because he was checked from behind by Malkin. He gets the puck back in the corner, Reeder. Out for Dahlbeck, and he can't keep it in. Now Dahlbeck goes back and plays the puck around.
Kunitz is flying. Are you kidding me? He is flying there on that forecheck.
Kunitz comes on the back check, takes the pass. The puck and moves it up the right wing now to Adams. And Adams looks back and then decides he better get it deep. Didn't do so. Taken away by Chipchura, who sends it back on defense. Now a return pass for Chipchura to Moore. The shot and a save made by Grice with a blocker on John Moore. A good rush there by the Coyotes. Now Kunitz steers it to Malkin at center. Kunitz has gone up and down the ice a couple of times. He needs to get to the bench. Now he does.
It's always nice, Staggy, to get your backup goaltender in sync as well. You never know when you're going to need him, and Thomas Greiss has been solid in this game.
He has 20 shots. That's all for Arizona, but he's faced some good scoring opportunities. Puck into the netting, and we'll take a break. Sidney Crosby has 78 points in 70 games.
Well, time for a Subway sandwich of the game, and Ben Lovejoy leading all defenders, blue liners in hits for the Penguins. That one early in the hockey game.
On Craig Cunningham, he gave him a pasting into the boards, didn't he?
Wow.
Well, the Islanders lost today, Bob. They've lost 7 straight on home ice. You know, the Penguins have gone through this funk recently. The Red Wings are 3-7-1 in their last 11. They've allowed 42 goals during that span, and they're 3-4-2 in their last 9 home games. Montreal is 5-5-3 in their last 13 games. They've scored 26 goals in their last 13.
Well, a win for the Penguins here this afternoon puts them in the home ice position against the Islanders if the season were to end today.
The Penguins have outchanced the Coyotes 10-3 here in the third period, and they've outscored them 3-1. The shots are 18-4. Pittsburgh in this third period. A total of 45 shots to 20 for the Coyotes. They're just totally taken over the game. If not for Mike Smith, it would be a much different score on the board right now, but it's good enough for the Penguins. They've got a 2-goal lead with 3:04 to go. And let's try to protect that the rest of the way. Continue to play the way they've been playing the whole game. Here's Cole with it now, head to win. giving you all those results of those other teams, just trying to give you an idea that Penguins aren't the only team going through a little bit of a funk right now who are already in playoff position. Here's Winnick back to the net. It floats wide. And Gagne able to lift it out to center ice, taken now by Lovejoy. Martin backhands it off the near boards. Crosby with control now. And he will dump it into the Coyote zone. 2.5 minutes remaining. The Penguins will play the Sharks tomorrow night. And the Sharks and the Flyers were tied at 2 in the third last time we checked. Here's Arcabello with it. He shoots it off the leg of Lovejoy. Game is still tied at 2 late in the third period. The Flyers will be coming to town on Wednesday. Now Smith goes to the bench and an empty net down to our right. Kunitz, can he get an empty netter from his own zone and rolls it that way? A race to the puck, Downey after it. Stone got there first. And he finds Dahlbeck, who works it up to center ice while Arcabello comes over the line. He tried a right wing pass and comes in front, and the shot by Reeder is into the net, and the Coyotes score with the extra attacker to make it 3-2 with 1:51 remaining.
Tons of time remaining. Kunitz didn't want to ice the puck. He put it in a position in the open net where somebody could maybe pick that puck up, but the Coyotes come the other way because the Penguins lose their neutral zone, Staggy. Downey went and engaged at that puck, and Reeder, who scored a shorthanded goal, and you see how that puck went off Pouliot behind the intended receiver and right to the stick of Reeder. No chance at all. That was intended for McGinn, that Doan play. But the Penguins lost their neutral zone, and they came through that neutral zone rather quickly, did the Coyotes, 6 men strong. Still empty net right now as Reeder's back on the ice.
And the Penguins have to hold the fort. The shot by Moore and hit a man. Back to Moore again at the point. Now centered. Comes through now for Adams, who banks it off the boards. 1:30 to go in the game.
You know Greiss wants to finish off a third period here.
Penguins just trying to steal the puck here if they can and get it down to the empty net. And Adams does. Adams got it. Adams looking. And defending was Stone, who didn't have a stick. His stick's sitting out of the blue line. Now he goes to the bench to get a new one as Moore starts from his own zone with 1:12 to go. The Penguins send a couple of fresh bodies onto the ice. Hornquist is one of them. He comes forward. And it's Scuderi, Martin, Winnick, Sutter, and Hornquist on the ice for Pittsburgh. Hornquist trying to get a hold of it, and he does. Hornquist tried to get it out, knocked out of midair, and then Donovan centered for Reeder just out of his reach.
Oh, it was right on his tape on. It was just too hard.
Now it's time again, bringing it up high.
Stick Hornquist.
Leaving it now for Gagne. He throws it across. Stone with a shot. A big save by Greiss there with a blocker. Empty net. Hornquist has a chance. He shoots and he missed the goal. 34 seconds to go in the game.
We don't need the excitement.
Here's Gagne with it now. McGinn goes to the net. Gagne's shot. Greiss the save, but he pounces on the rebound with time again. Charging to the net. Greiss quickly got his glove down on top of that puck. 25.1 seconds remaining.
Well, maybe they got to work on the empty nets in practice, Staggy. You know, the ice isn't good. Desperation by the defender and the side of the net. Timeout, Arizona, as Greiss has to make another save coming back the other way. Bobbled that shot a little bit, and McGinn had an opportunity at the rebound as he went into the cage. And a big face-off to the right of Thomas Greiss with 25 seconds left. It's 3-2. Arizona went up first on a screen shot, and then the Penguins came back off a face-off goal by Winnick, a power play goal by Downey, and another power play goal by Sidney Crosby. It was 3-1, and a late goal with an extra attacker by Reeder has made it 3-2, and wow, it's tightened up.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it, that Winnick and Downey would score the first 2 goals. Granted, Downey's was on a power play, but you're looking for that kind of scoring from guys in tight games and games where you need somebody else to step up. Winnick was the guy that got the tying goal. That was huge. Now it's swept ahead by Crosby towards the empty net. A foot race. Moore getting back to the puck. Sent it off the wall. Hornquist has it for Crosby. Lapierre's in front. And if he could have gotten the puck there, it would have been his first goal in a Penguin uniform, but they couldn't get it through to him. Chipchura comes back. 8 ticks of the clock left. 3 seconds to go. One more chance for the Coyotes in front. It's Gagne. Time runs out on him. And an feet are Penguins fans who are happy that the Penguins were able to reach down deep. Down 1-0. They roar back to win it by a score of 3-2. Sidney Crosby, our McDonald's player of the game, with a goal and a couple of helpers, figuring in on all 3 Penguin goals here in the third period.
It was a gut check for Pittsburgh. They did get that good scoring. They lost Letang during the game. There was some ups, there was some downs, and Thomas Greiss held the fort at the end.
Let's go to Robin Jay.
Stocking Bob, thanks very much. The Penguins have dropped 3 in a row at home. That streak is over. And Jay, the Penguins this is a game that was dominated really by Mike Smith through 2 periods of play, but the Penguins able to rally when they fell behind and come up with the big goals to win the game.
Yeah, really, we're sitting there thinking it's only a matter of time. I mean, they peppered him. He was that good. They broke through with the winning goal, obviously, but the Downey one was on the power play, make it 2-1. That was what got to him. And again, Smith was really good, but Pittsburgh kept working and pounding, and obviously they come out on top.
And it's time now for Miller Time, presented by Miller Lite, and it is that Steve Downey goal. Comes in the power play. One of 2 power play goals for the Penguins in this game. Crosby feeds back to Downey. Downey's 14th, and the Penguins go on to win by the final score of 3-2. Coming up next, we'll have extended highlights of this game, post-game reaction from the victorious Pens locker room. You also hear from head coach Mike Johnston, highlights from around the league, and Jay's analysis plus illustration. All that and more coming up next, following the Penguins' 3-2 victory over the Arizona Coyotes here at Consol Energy Center.